What was the most exciting thing you felt or heard or saw when you were at the recent Bitcoin conference in Miami? Was there a, obviously it was big.
Mhm.
There was a lot of big people there as well. Peter Thiel throwing money on the stage, and you were obviously on the news desk there. But
Mhm.
what did you see or feel from that latest conference?
Well, the thing that I felt was that this thing is getting really, really big. I've been to a lot of Bitcoin conferences over the last 5 years, and this was by far the biggest. It took you like 20 minutes to go from one end of the place to the other. Like most Bitcoin conferences, you can go to every room in like 1 minute, right? Like it doesn't take very long. So the scale of the thing just felt way, way bigger. And I think that's reflective of, the number of people that are getting into the space. I think DCG did a study that said something like 26 million Americans have some exposure to Bitcoin in some way. It could be through GBTC or through actually owning it or having an account on Coinbase or something like that. But 26 million, that's almost like 10%. AARP is only like 40 million members. So, we're looking at a much larger number. I think in the years to come. So I felt that definitely that the community is getting much bigger, but it's also interesting that it's skewing much younger. And the one thing that struck me from the conference, and it was part of a talk that Michael Saylor was doing, and he was saying, I have a lot of billionaire friends, and they'll come and talk to me about Bitcoin, and almost always the reason why they want to talk to me about Bitcoin is because their kids are doing it. Which is like, oh, that's very interesting, because I had heard the same thing in El Salvador. The people that got into El Salvador at Bitcoin Beach were the kids. Mike Peterson was paying for kids to go clean up the beach in Lightning, and they would go learn way more about it, and then their family would have some medical emergency or need to pay rent, and the kid would be like, hey, I have $100 here, like, do you want to use it? And the parents would be blown away. That's how that community was won over. So the thing that I felt after this conference was, okay, it really is sort of like this generational thing that you talked about earlier, where it's the young people that are going to make this, that are really going to drive this thing going forward, and not, the established gerontocracy that are very resistant against it. It's the young people understand it. They get it, and they're really starting to develop it. And that's where the future is, and that's what I felt.
And you teach a lot of people how to code and program, in this Bitcoin space. I know that's a specialty of yours. I know you have events and things like that. I also know you have 6 kids who are up and coming. My daughter's 18. We just went to Boston to look at universities, and she sees what I'm doing here, and she wants to study philosophy. And I said, look, you can do both. What did Mark Twain said? Never let your school get in the way of your education. So she can learn this, but also be in touch with what's happening in the Bitcoin space. What do you teach the young people if they want to get involved in the space, if they want to code? And then what do you teach your own children about this space?
Yeah. So what I tell them is, the Bitcoin is like the Wild West. Again, going back to the hat and everything else, it's got a lot of danger, but it's also got a lot of opportunity. And you mentioned the whole "Go West, young man" kind of thing that was said in the 1800s. The reason why they said that was because on the East Coast, where a lot of these people would grow up, you would learn to become a baker or a lawyer or an accountant or something like that. And you'd have competition from people that were bakers, lawyers, or accountants for like the last 30 years. They have a huge list of clients. It's going to be hard to sort of like get them to switch, right? Because this was back when, you had a relationship with these people. So you're not going to like give them up very easily. So they would say, go west, young man. And the idea was, well, if you're a baker, it's not to go out there and like go dig for gold or something like that. If you're a baker, there aren't that many bakers out in the West. If you're an accountant, there aren't that many accountants out in the West. If you're a lawyer, there aren't that many lawyers out in the West. So you're going to have this opportunity to really, establish yourself and make something of yourself, and pull yourself up by the bootstraps and really, serve a good or a service to the community that they really need. And that was the idea. And for me, if you're a young person and you're thinking about this space, well, go do whatever it is that you're good at, but incorporate Bitcoin into it. If you are an accountant, well, the 60, 70-year-old accountants are not really learning about Bitcoin. They already have their clients. But if you're an accountant and learn Bitcoin and know how to do all of the tax implications and figure out how to help people that way, well, you're going to have a lot more clients and you're going to be the expert. Marco Santori, who was an early Bitcoiner, I think he came out of a mid-tier law school, but he's the premier lawyer in the Bitcoin space right now. And this is because he got into the Bitcoin law space very early. He recognized it. So he studied everything about it, all the statutes and all the things that would be relevant. Now, he's a sought after lawyer in the Bitcoin space because he knows all about law and Bitcoin, that intersection. So if you are a young person, go figure out what you're good at and find the intersection with Bitcoin. And I promise you, you will be, you're going to be essentially going out west. You can go make something of yourself and you can have opportunity and do something that will benefit a lot of people. And that's the dream, right? It's this ability to not only add value to other people, but make money doing it. It'll be awesome.